It started with a single tweet from a respected ESPN analyst. Caitlin Clark is already the greatest rookie the WNBA has ever seen. Period. 7 words. That's all it took to send the league, the media, and half the internet into complete meltdown. What was meant as praise for a rising star quickly turned into an all-out war of reactions, resentment, and raw emotion across the WNBA. Caitlin had just come off a historic triple-double. She broke records again, most points by a rookie. In her first 10 games, highest average assists, and the highest jersey sales in the league since her debut. The crowd was louder than ever. Her face was everywhere. From Nike commercials to TikTok edits, Caitlin Clark wasn't just playing basketball. She was becoming the moment. And for some, that was the problem. Back in the locker room after her performance, cameras caught her smiling, but calm. "I'm just here to hoop," she said. "Whatever people say, I let my game talk." But while she was talking calm, the league wasn't. Within minutes, the reactions came flying in. And they weren't all congratulations. One star player, who chose not to name her, posted a cryptic story. "Funny how y'all quick to crown someone after 10 games. We've been doing this for years." Fans immediately guessed who it was. Another WNBA veteran reposted the ESPN tweet with 3 laughing emojis and the words, "Y'all really rewriting history, huh?" Some players like A'ja Wilson kept it classy. She tweeted, "Caitlin got the game. Let's give her time to build a legacy though." It was the closest thing to neutral praise, but even that felt like it had layers. The reactions didn't stop there. Chennedy Carter went live on Instagram with a few teammates, and though she didn't say Caitlin's name directly, her words were sharp. Some folks walk in the league with all the cameras, all the money, all the hype, and act like they invented the game. "Nah, we've been grinding. We made this league what it is. Don't forget that." In the comments, someone typed "talking about Caitlin," and Chennedy smirked, then ended the live. That clip alone got 3 million views in 6 hours. Meanwhile, Angel Reese was spotted liking a few spicy tweets. One said, "Y'all giving out GOAT titles off of TikTok highlights now?" Another read, "Can she survive 1 season before she gets a statue?" Caitlin stayed silent. She didn't post, she didn't tweet, she didn't comment. But the silence only made the noise louder. ESPN doubled down with a follow-up segment. A panel of analysts replayed her highlights, compared her stats to WNBA legends, and ran a poll asking, "Is Caitlin Clark the greatest rookie in WNBA history?" The results were brutal. 75% said yes. And that just fueled the fire. Several retired WNBA stars started chiming in too. Some praised Caitlin for bringing new eyes to the league, saying she was a once-in-a-generation passer with Curry-like range. Others weren't so generous. "She's good," said one former MVP on a podcast, "but the media loves a good White Hope story. Let's keep it real." The clip went viral instantly. Twitter split into factions. Half the fans were calling out jealousy. The other half said this was about respect, about putting in years before getting crowned. One thread broke it down like this. "Lisa Leslie changed the game. Cheryl Swoops was the blueprint. Diana Taurasi dominated for decades. And y'all, ready to call Caitlin the greatest rookie ever after 2 weeks?" But then someone posted the numbers. Caitlin Clark wasn't just playing well, she was breaking every rookie record that existed, and that made things even messier. The Indiana Fevers, next game, had more media than they'd ever seen. Reporters from networks that didn't even cover women's basketball were now in the building. ESPN's camera zoomed in on Caitlin as she warmed up. She looked locked in, unfazed, but behind the scenes, pressure was mounting. One Fever teammate was caught whispering courtside, "It's too much." She didn't ask for all this, but it's way too much. That clip made it to TikTok within an hour. After the game, which they won, Caitlin finally spoke. When asked about the greatest rookie title, she paused, then smiled faintly. "I didn't give myself that label," she said. "I just play the game the way I always have. I respect everyone who came before me. I still got a long way to go." It was a mature response, poised, humble, but even that wasn't enough to cool things down. An anonymous WNBA agent told a sports site, "This isn't about Caitlin. This is about the way media and money treat her compared to others. There's a double standard. It's making the locker rooms tense." And that's where the real story was happening. In the locker rooms, behind the scenes, whispers of division were growing louder. Some teammates felt the pressure to protect Caitlin. Others felt overshadowed by her spotlight. One insider leaked that certain players were refusing interviews after games to avoid being asked about her. "Everything's about her now," the source said, "even when she's not in the room." And yet, no one could deny her impact. Jersey. Sales, record-breaking. Ticket revenue, league-high .tv ratings. WNBA viewership had doubled since her debut, and that was the problem. The numbers made the praise feel justified, but the culture of the league, the grind, the years of being overlooked, was starting to push back. At the next post-game presser, a different player was asked if Caitlin deserved the greatest rookie title. She laughed, then paused. Caitlin's got talent. No one's denying that. But greatness isn't built in 10 games. It's earned. We'll see where she is in 5 years. And the press ran with it. Greatness under fire. Locker room whispers. WNBA split on Caitlin Clark's rise. The headline war had begun. The tension wasn't just online anymore. It had made its way onto the court, into the practices, into the travel. Buses, into the tunnels before tip-off. Caitlin Clark's name echoed louder than any team name. And whether they admitted it or not, every WNBA player walking into an arena now had 2 opponents, the team in front of them and the shadow of Caitlin's rising legacy. The league tried to keep it professional. Public statements stayed neutral. The WNBA social media account continued promoting all players, but the fans weren't buying it. Every highlight, every reaction, every moment was dissected for signs of jealousy, division, or quiet support. And some of the players, they were done being quiet. In a post-game interview following a tough loss, a star forward who had been an all-star twice leaned in and said bluntly, "It's funny. I dropped 28 and 12 tonight, and I still got asked about Caitlin. Like, is this her league or is it the WNBA?" The reporter froze. The clip went viral instantly. Meanwhile, in Indiana, Caitlin kept her head down. She was still dropping dimes, still hitting logo threes, still walking with her usual calm confidence. But the atmosphere around her was changing. You could see it on the bench. Teammates who used to joke and banter were now quiet, more reserved. On the court, opposing players bumped her harder on screens. Fouls were getting more physical. One vet whispered something in Caitlin's ear after drawing contact, and Caitlin didn't react. But fans watching the replay zoomed in and started decoding her lips. The speculation only added fuel to the fire. She told her, "You ain't earned nothing yet," one fan posted. Another claimed it was worse. Nobody knew for sure. But the game after that, Caitlin came out with 31 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, and a win. She didn't celebrate. She barely even smiled. And after the game, she didn't speak to media. Her coach answered for her, saying, "She's just focused on basketball. All the other stuff, that's noise." But the noise was getting deafening. Backstage, things were heating up even more. One report leaked that 2 opposing players had refused to shake Caitlin's hand after a recent game. One of them reportedly said, "We don't hand out respect just because you're viral." And in another tunnel moment, a team staffer allegedly had to step between Caitlin and another player during a hallway run-in. The league denied anything serious happened, but the footage told a different story. Fans caught glimpses of sideline glares, shoulder bumps that looked a little too aggressive, post-game hugs offered to everyone on the floor, except Caitlin, and then came the ESPN sit-down that flipped everything. A WNBA vet, known for being blunt and fearless, sat down with a host for a special called Beyond the Numbers. Halfway through the interview, the host asked, "Do you think Caitlin Clark is good for the league?" The player didn't hesitate. "She's great for the media. But the league? That depends, because if she keeps being treated like a superstar before she's paid her dues, that creates resentment. Real players grind for years without a headline. She shows up and suddenly everyone else is background noise? That's not gonna sit well." The internet exploded. Again. The debate turned uglier. Some fans called the criticism unfair, blaming jealousy. Others said it was deeper, about the imbalance of visibility, media access, and endorsements. Caitlin wasn't just a basketball player. She had become a symbol. And in a league that had spent decades fighting for respect, her rise felt like a slap to those who built the foundation. But what nobody was talking about? Caitlin was hearing all of it. Every comment, every post, every stare. She just wasn't saying anything. Her agent reportedly advised her to stay silent. Don't respond, just perform. That was the plan. But inside the locker room, that silence started feeling like distance. Some teammates reportedly felt like they were in a storm that wasn't even theirs, and Caitlin wasn't letting anyone in. "She's not cold," one team insider said anonymously. "She's just carrying all this weight alone. She knows if she says anything, it becomes a headline, so she says nothing. But it's isolating her. It's isolating her." The Fever's next matchup was against one of the toughest, most vocal teams in the league, and from the moment Caitlin walked on the floor, it was different. No smiles, no warm-ups shared, no friendly shoulder taps, just glares. The game was brutal, physical, personal. Caitlin was double-teamed aggressively, knocked to the floor 3 times in the first half, and heckled from the bench. On one possession, after drawing a foul and hitting the floor hard, a mic caught someone yelling, "You gonna cry now, Golden Girl?" The camera zoomed in. Caitlin got up, wiped her hands, and nodded. Then she sank both free throws. In the second half, she hit a step-back 3 so deep the crowd erupted. But she didn't celebrate. She just jogged back down the court, stone-faced. She wasn't there to smile anymore. After the Fever won by 2 points, reporters swarmed the hallway. One asked her, "Do you feel like you're being targeted?" Caitlin looked at him, paused, then said, "I feel like I'm being tested. That's the league. That's life. Bring it." That quote lit the internet on fire. Her fans rallied. The narrative shifted again. Now she wasn't just a breakout star. She was a survivor. Someone battling an entire league with poise and strength. But behind closed doors, people were wondering, how long can she take this? She's 22, a sports therapist posted online. Everyone's projecting decades of frustration onto a kid who's barely played 15 games. It's not healthy, for her or for the league. And yet, the league was riding the wave. Ticket sales were up, ratings were historic. Clips of Caitlin getting fouled, bumping back, scoring deep threes, they were everywhere. She had become a walking highlight reel. But more than that, she had become the lightning rod for a conversation the league had never really had in public before. What does greatness mean? Is it about numbers, respect, longevity, or the power to change the game? That's what Caitlin Clark had done. She changed the game, and everyone was being forced to deal with it. The next game wasn't supposed to be a headline. It was a mid-season matchup between Indiana and Chicago. Standard scheduling, nothing extraordinary. But by tip-off, every camera lens in the building had zoomed in on 2 players, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. The tension had been building for weeks. Rumors of silent beef, like tweets, sideline stares. A rivalry that began in college was now front and center in the pros. And no one was pretending anymore. This was the game fans had been waiting for, the one where everything unsaid might finally come out. Caitlin walked into the building in silence. No pre-game interviews, no social posts. Her headphones were in, her hoodie was up. She didn't make eye contact with anyone. The tunnel cameras caught her walking by Angel. No nod, no glance, nothing. Angel, on the other hand, was smiling, laughing, with teammates, posting locker room photos with the caption, "Business as usual." But when the game started, it was anything but usual. From the first possession, Angel and her teammates pressured Caitlin full court. Hands up, elbows tight, talking. Every bucket Caitlin hit was met with stares. Every foul she took brought whispers and laughter from the bench. It wasn't just basketball, it was psychological warfare. Late in the second quarter, it escalated. Caitlin drove the lane and took a hard foul. Nothing out of bounds, but heavy enough to drop her. She hit the floor, slid across the paint, and stayed down for a moment longer than usual. The whistle blew. The crowd gasped. Angel stood over her briefly, then walked away. Caitlin got up slowly. She didn't argue. She didn't complain. But when she stepped to the free throw line, the arena fell silent. She bounced the ball once, twice, then looked up. Her eyes met Angel's across the lane. Then she smiled and swished the first shot. The second went in too. But the moment wasn't. Forgotten. In the locker room tunnel at halftime, sources say words were exchanged. No cameras caught it directly, but players from both sides reportedly had to be separated. One source close to the Fever said, "It wasn't just about this game, it was everything boiling over. The second half was a war." Caitlin dropped 2 deep threes. Angel responded with an and one and a stare down. Every play felt like it had meaning beyond the scoreboard. Every movement was being recorded, posted, slowed down, and shared in real time. The world wasn't watching a game anymore. They were watching a cultural moment unfold. The Fever won by 5. Caitlin had 29 points, 8 assists, and the final dagger. 3. Angel had 17 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 quotes ready for the post-game press. When asked if the game felt personal, Angel smirked. "It's always personal. We play for more than stats. We play for legacy." A reporter followed up, asking what she thought about Caitlin being called the greatest rookie ever. Angel paused. "She's good. Really good. But she ain't the league. Not yet." The cameras turned to Caitlin 10 minutes later. She kept it short. "I respect everyone I play against. That's how I was raised. I don't need to talk. I just hoop." The crowd cheered the moment the clip went live. Her fans called it grace under pressure. Her critics called it passive. But nobody could deny that Caitlin had become the storm and the eye of it. Behind closed doors, things were getting more complicated. Fever insiders leaked that Caitlin was starting to isolate, that she wasn't speaking much off the court, that she wasn't hanging with teammates after games, that even when she smiled in interviews, she went quiet once the cameras stopped rolling. "She's carrying the weight of the league," one assistant coach said, "and it's not fair. She didn't ask for this much this fast." The pressure was affecting more than just Caitlin. The entire WNBA was feeling it. Players were frustrated, not just at her, but at what she represented. The shift, the spotlight, the imbalance. Rookie contracts hadn't changed. Exposure hadn't spread evenly. Caitlin was selling out arenas while other teams still struggled to fill seats. And while that wasn't her fault, it didn't stop the resentment. Then, out of nowhere, came the Players Association statement. A carefully worded release that called for equity and recognition and balanced media coverage. It didn't name names, but it didn't have to. Everyone knew what it was responding to. It was responding to Caitlin Clark being crowned before the crown was earned. It was responding to the chaos. The same day, Caitlin's camp released a quiet quote through her agency. She has nothing but respect for the league and every woman in it. She's focused on earning her place, not claiming it. That line did some damage control, but it didn't stop the narrative. Caitlin wasn't just a rookie anymore. She was a symbol, and every WNBA vet, every rising star, every overlooked legend was now watching closely, not to take her down, but to make sure she didn't get lifted alone. A few days later, a video surfaced, not from a game, not from a press conference. It was Caitlin, sitting alone after practice, sweating, tired, talking to a young fan who had waited outside the gym. "I'm proud of you," the girl said. "You show us we can be strong and quiet at the same time." Caitlin smiled. It was the first time she looked fully at peace. "Thank you," she replied. "That means more than anything else." That moment spread quietly. No drama, no headlines, just a clip of a 22-year-old finding her reason again. Because in the end, behind the noise, behind the backlash, behind the tension, Caitlin Clark just wanted to play. But the WNBA, it was making her prove she belonged in every single second. Caitlin Clark didn't just walk into the WNBA, she shook it to its core. With every no-look pass, Logo 3, and sold-out arena, she's rewriting what it means to be a rookie. But as the spotlight burns brighter, so does the backlash. From cryptic tweets to sideline tension and on-court fouls that feel extra personal, it's clear this isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about respect, legacy, and who gets to be crowned in a league built on decades of struggle. The reaction to her rise has exposed deeper cracks in the WNBA, unspoken rivalries, media bias, and the painful line between hype and history. And through it all, Caitlin has stayed silent, letting her game speak louder than any headline. If this story had you glued from the first play to the final buzzer, don't miss what's coming next. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss Part 2 of this unfolding storm. Like the video if you believe greatness should be earned and challenged. And drop a comment. Is Caitlin Clark lifting the league or dividing it? Because in this game, legacy isn't given. It's fought for. Every single night. Every single night.